All right, so let's keep reading through Dr. James White's answer here, starting right here. Actually, the answer to the whole question seems fairly obvious, even to a first-year Greek student. You ready for this? It's actually quite, basic trivial as to why John left it out, so check this out. The third clause of 1.1 is a copulative sentence. That is, it follows the form. The mourn is predicate nominative. The whatever we say, the noun. I think it's supposed to say noun there. It says mourn. In Greek, one distinguishes the subject of a copulative sentence by which noun has an article in front of it. What I mean by copulative is indicating a relationship between two nouns. That's what we mean by copulative. So noun A, noun B, in one sentence or one clause, one has an article, one doesn't, or both have the article, or neither has the article, or something like that. But nevertheless, the Greek is trying to indicate by the way of a verb that or some other part of speech, that there's a relationship between one and the other, such as if I said, Ariel is a teacher. Well, now, the word is a verb that's forming a relationship between Ariel and teacher. Ariel is a noun, teacher is a noun, and the verb is in the middle between the sentence, Ariel is a teacher. It forms a relationship or indicates a relationship between these two nouns. That's what I mean by a copulative part of speech. The word is in my sentence, Ariel is a teacher, is a copulative verb. It's showing that there's a relationship between the two nouns here. That's kind of what Dr. James White is indicating. For example, in Greek, one distinguishes the subject of a copulative sentence by which noun has the article in front of it. For example, in 1 John 4:8, we have the last clause reading God is love. Now in Greek, this is theos agape estin. There are two nominative nouns in this sentence. We have God, which is theos, and love, which is agape. However, the first noun, God, has the article ha before it, right? The God. This indicates that God is the subject of the sentence and love is the predicate nominative. Remember last week we talked about this. Subject versus predicate nominative. What is the Greek order? You don't have to be a Greek scholar to appreciate this, but if you can see this from the Greek, it will enhance your understanding of why the words are the way they are and help you better understand which translations fit the way they go. James White continues. Dr. White continues. Let me scroll down a little bit and pick up our reading right there. Oops, we don't want to do that. We want to do that. Dr. White continues. It would be wrong then to translate 1 John 4:8 as love is God. The only way to make the two nouns interchangeable, right, where we have either love is God or God is love, where we swap them around, it doesn't matter, is to either put the article with both nouns, right, where we had, where we would supposedly have theos, agape estin, something to that effect, right? Two ha's in there, two thehs. But we don't have that, like Dr. James White is saying, or to not put the article near all. So we'd have simply theos agape estin. Take out the altogether. But Dr. White reminds us, as long as one has the article and the other does not, one is definitely the subject and the other is the predicate. Hence, 1 John 4:8 does not teach that all love is God, nor that God and love are interchangeable things. Rather, the term love tells us something about God. It functions almost as an adjective describing the noun God that it modifies. Okay, so in conclusion to this quote from Dr. James White, we have the same situation in John 1:1, the final clause. The Greek reads, kai theos ein halogos. Let me make sure that's ein and not n. Kai theos ein halogos. Yes, okay. Oops. So, kai theos ein halogos. Notice I'm saying theos and not theos. Where there's a different Greek word, theos, or theos. They're slightly different, and we'll get to that in a moment. So the Greek has and God was the logos. Notice that the term logos has the article ha, right? Ho, ha, while the term theos does not. This tells us that the subject of the clause is the logos. Hence, we could not translate the phrase, quote, and God was the word. For that would make the wrong term the subject of the clause, right? The Greek doesn't allow us to say, and God was the word. Hence, the term God is the predicate nominative, right? It comes afterwards, and it functions just as love. did in John 1 John 4:8. It tells us something about the Logos, right? And that is the nature of the Logos is the nature of God, just as the nature of God in 1 John 4:8 was that of love. Now, John does emphasize the term God by placing it first in the clause. This is not just a divine nature as in something like the angels have. Rather, it is truly the nature of deity that is in view here, hence his translation as deity. Dr. Kenneth West, longtime professor of Greek at Moody Bible Institute, rendered the phrase, quote, "and the word was as to his essence absolute deity." So, I said all of that to say that the Greek indicates which is subject, which is predicate nominative, which comes first, which comes second. So we can't render it as God was the word, even though literally and then God is thrown first in the word order, theos, ein, ha, logos. We know that logos, because of its definite article ha, becomes the subject, and theos becomes the predicate nominative following after the subject. Thus, the accurate translation is and the word was God. That's the answer to a question that we posed in one of the previous videos.